We did have the devastating snowstorm last week, and if it wasn't for some of the board members up here supporting me and giving me the ability to make some incredibly difficult decisions last week, we would be in a much different place. I can tell you that, you know, before we never worked together. This is our very first meeting. So we all had these perceptions of what it was going to be like to work with these new board members. Some of us, you know, have gotten along in the campaigns. Some of us have not. And we all had these preconceived notions of one another. And I can tell you that on Monday morning, that was all stripped to the ground. And it was all hands on deck. Party politics did not matter. What mattered was getting to our constituents and making sure that they had the communication that they needed. We immediately reached out to state-level officials. They were Republicans, they were Democrats. Republicans on this board worked with independents, they worked with Democrats. It didn't matter what you were. What mattered is helping the constituents of this county. Unfortunately, we just got wind today that there are some residents in the county who've decided that they might want to try to make this political, which is really unfortunate because Stafford really rose to the occasion. This board put politics aside and we supported one another. And when some of us couldn't get to certain constituents because they were dealing with their families, they were dealing with their own emergencies, other board members stepped in to help get their constituents the help that they needed. And I think that every resident in this community should be proud of their board members for the actions that we were able to take in this crisis emergency situation. I also would like to give a special thanks to, yes, it's a Democrat, Secretary Moran, the Secretary of Public Safety. He got on the phone with me at a very late hour at night and was able to deploy the Virginia State Police, assisted us with getting the National Guard, and assisted us with getting choppers to clear 95 and then help the county out as the impending snowstorm was approaching on Thursday. I'd also like to thank Senator Stewart, who's a Republican, and Tara Durant, a newly elected Republican, who also assisted in getting additional resources to Stafford County from VDOT because we were not successful at getting them on our own. So I just want to say thank you to our constituents for dealing with this situation. We have learned a lot about our Emergency Operations Command. We've learned a lot about increasing communication, transparency, and being prepared for storms like this in the future. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you to my colleagues for their support and getting through this emergency because I could not have done it without each and every one of them.
It was really a very difficult week for a lot of people. We had some wonderful stories. But wow, people were without power for a long time. Dominion worked hard, VDOT worked hard, you know, staff worked hard, public safety worked hard, and it was truly a perfect storm. But I do want to say it was probably the worst thing I've experienced on behalf of my constituents. I've been through the boil alert, I've been through the derecho and other things, and it was amazing that people just wanted to text me, call me once they had, you know, electronification on their phones and just say, does somebody know that I'm out here? Is somebody my lifeline? You know, they knew I couldn't do anything about the power, but they wanted somebody to know that there was a link. You know, is somebody aware that I don't have power? And here it is Friday. So anyway, I do just want to let you know it wasn't all peaches and cream out on the interstate. I want to read to you a very short text from a woman that left Delaware, northern Delaware, Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning. They arrived in North Carolina 36 hours later. They literally slept on the interstate. And I think this just describes for everybody kind of what it looked like out there. It was scary. Thank God we had water, dog food, and gas in the car. I never imagined we would lay down and sleep in the middle of the interstate. There was no help, no police, no emergency vehicles, no plows, no food, nothing, no toilets, no warming stations. What they are saying on TV is just not what we had. It was a sheet of ice plus 6 to 8 inches of snow across all lanes. We arrived at our destination 36 hours later. We could have flown to Australia in that time period. So in light of what some people saw on the news, It was a very, very difficult situation. I personally don't know if I could have done that. And we have to make sure that on behalf of all of our constituents, we get to the bottom of what transpired for our community should we ever go through something like this again. Thank you, Madam Chair.
A massive thank you to the various departments, staffs throughout this county who stepped up to help people. They care about the hardships that our citizens go through every day. And during a crisis such as this, they went to a level higher than many other people would dare to go to. And I thank them greatly for that. I also thank the number of citizens that were going around helping people, plowing, cutting down trees, clearing paths so that people could get power. At one point in our house, it went down to 36 degrees before we got power back again. So I am very much empathetic for those who have suffered in this. And I think that, as I said last week when I was at somebody's house, we, governments at all levels, need to look at things in a more sensitive, rational way of how to do things and prepare. We did this quite effectively after the century floods down in Falmouth. And we looked at it and did after-action reports and came up with plans. And we took suggestions from citizens because often the citizens have real great ideas. And so I look forward to that for the future as far as getting out communication. And hopefully Dominion Power will figure out that you put lines on the ground. It helps a little bit in situations such as this. So a massive thank you to the citizens and employees of Stafford County. And may the rest of this winter be better so that people can actually have a peaceful existence.